Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the MindShare Podcast. You know that feeling at the end of the day when you think, I should have done more? Do you think you're inconsistent? Like, seriously, if I asked you that right now, like, what would your first reaction be? Like, what would you say? See, because most people, they go straight to making excuses, or they maybe even own it. Yeah, I need to be more consistent, or I struggle with consistency, or I don't know, I got a hard time sticking to things. I don't know. I don't buy that. Like, I really don't. Because if you actually slow it all down for just a second, like, you're not inconsistent. You're actually really, really consistent, just not always where it matters. This is episode number 383. So think about your day for a second. Like, any day. Like, actually, like, think about it. And don't rush here. I'm talking from the moment you wake up. What do you do? Think about that. I'm not asking you to say it out loud. I don't want to hear everything you do. No, but seriously, let's go there. Like, you get out of bed a certain way. Maybe it's, you get up and you move to your right or you move to your left. Maybe you get up and you go to the bathroom, wash your face, brush your teeth, maybe grab a coffee. Maybe you do that thing that you shouldn't be doing, but you check your phone even before you get out of bed. Horrible. Don't do that. That's like, why would you pollute your mind first thing in the morning? You wake up in the morning, all of a sudden it's like, let me open up my device and see what the rest of the world is doing. Let me put all their bullshit in my mind before my brain is even actually awake. Makes no sense to me. But that's my 2 cents on that. I would tell you, do not pick up that phone first thing in the morning. Keep that thing to the side. And if for some reason you do pick it up, my advice to you is check the weather. Go read up on sports. Go pick up your favorite book or something. But just don't allow the rest of the world to get in your brain before your brain is even awake. It's just not the right way to start your day. In fact, I'll go right to the other end and bookend that whole thing and say it's not the right way to end your day. Why in the world would you allow anybody to get into your brain just when you wake up or just before you go to bed? You got to be in your own place. But anyways, listen. Maybe you check that phone. Maybe you do. Maybe you scroll a bit. Maybe you check your emails. Maybe you're checking texts. Whatever you're doing first thing in the morning, you go through this sequence of things, don't you? And as I ask you that, like, usually those things, we actually don't even think about them. They just kind of happen. And we're not sitting there just going, okay, now that I got up, it's time to be consistent with brushing my teeth. So I'm going to go to the washroom, I'm going to put the toothpaste on the toothbrush, and I'm going to brush my teeth. We just do it. More or less like around the same time each day, or pretty much the exact same way, the way we put the toothpaste on the toothbrush and where the toothbrush is sitting and, how we brush our teeth and how long we brush our teeth for, and then when we put the toothbrush back, and it just happens over and over and over again. So don't tell me and don't tell yourself that you're not consistent, because you are. But the real question is, what are you consistent at? And yes, I just mentioned brushing your teeth, but there's a lot more things that you are actually consistent at that you may not even consciously pay attention to. And this right here, when we look at it properly, this is the type of stuff that actually gets people thinking. Because if I said to you, write down everything you do in a day, and I'm not talking like just the big stuff of like I had to meet a client, or I had to write an offer, or show a property, or whatever, but I'm talking everything, all of it, the big stuff, the small stuff, the stuff that you don't even think about. If you did that and you start to pay attention to it, you'd start to see patterns. Stuff like everything I do typically in the morning is actually the same thing. I've got the routine down. My habits, and a habit is a habit because we do it, right? But I've got habits. In fact, when I get up in the morning and I'm doing certain things, there's certain distractions. Again, things happen at the same time. We've got triggers that cause these things to happen. When we think about a habit, trigger, action, reward, what is the trigger that's causing that thing to happen? And in this case, we could say you got up in the morning, you opened your eyes like you always do, you turn off that alarm clock, maybe you grab for the phone, maybe you don't, then you get up, potentially go to the washroom, brush your teeth, etc., right? It's the same stuff. But what we often, because that's all so subconscious, what we often don't pay enough attention to is, again, that small thing that causes us to take those actions. We often don't just like randomly do things. And I would say that like there's some randomness, of course, but I'm talking even if we break it right down to like, you're watching the game and every single time there's a commercial, you happen to pick up your phone. That's not random. There's a trigger, and that trigger could be every time the whistle blows in the hockey game or every time it goes to commercial. That trigger causes you to pick up the phone. And then there's an example, right? Something triggers us to do something. Again, what time of the day is it? Is it morning time? I do certain things. Is it lunchtime? I do certain things. Is it evening time? Is it bedtime? Or what about the way you feel? Not just time, but how you're feeling when in a moment. And what subsequent action do you take after that feeling? Because that feeling is actually a trigger for you to do something. It could be the environment you're in. Where are you? Maybe if you're at your desk, and being at your desk, certain things are happening because, again, these are the things you do when you're at your desk or in the car. There's things you do when you're in the car. Maybe when you're bored. Again, scrolling, fidgeting, whatever. But like, what do you do when you're bored? Think about it. You're sitting there, there's absolutely nothing to do. And I mean, I don't know whose world there's nothing doing anymore, but, what do you do? Or when you're stressed, let's look at it that way. What do you do when you're stressed out? Do you eat? Do you do something else to relieve the stress? What about your overall routine? When you think about your routine, it's not random. Again, from the way you get up, from the way you move, from the way you do, from what you check, from who you call, from the way you drive maybe to the office, the way you leave your house, the way you get dressed, the way you prepare to leave the house. Maybe the same thing. But again, there's this trigger, there's this thing that we're doing. It's not random. Something sets it off. Something causes us to do. And I mean, I know I keep using this example of the coffee, but like, or the phone, the coffee, I guess morning routine. I keep coming back to morning routine in this one. But why? Now think about that. And I'm challenging you to think about that for a moment for yourself right now. Why? Why do you do that thing? Whatever it is. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of those things that we do that are consistent in a day. But ask yourself, is it time of day? Is it the fact that I've just built out this habit of constantly doing it? Do you constantly have a feeling of like, I need to check something? Or when you grab your coffee, again, why are you doing it? Is it just routine in the morning? Why do you grab it in the morning? Are you looking for energy? Is it just out of habit? Is it make you feel comfortable? Like, what I'm trying to dive into here with you is I'm trying to tell you that there's always something behind it. Always. And once we start to actually figure out what causes us to do that thing, that's where the real magic happens. See, because this is where it gets interesting. And I know we're talking a lot about morning routine and these things we do in life. We're going to tie this back to your work. Because the question now comes to, again, why are you doing those? Like, what purpose do they actually serve? And some of that stuff, it makes total sense. Brushing your teeth, hey, great idea. Eating, hey, that's also a good idea. Taking care of yourself, obviously a good idea. But some of them, they don't really do much for us. Deciding to scroll for 20 minutes when we really didn't decide to scroll for 20 minutes. We actually just picked up our phone out of a habit, but then it's been 20 minutes. Or checking the same email inbox 10 times over, like we're just waiting for something. And yeah, I get it. Sometimes you are waiting for something. But like, pay attention to how many times you pick up the phone and just check your inbox. What about like scrolling between the different apps, never mind in one app or on social media, but literally like scrolling through your phone? And I'm talking like you pick up the phone, you kind of, scroll to the apps, and you look through some other apps. Why? What is causing that, and why are you doing it? But notice something. You do it, don't you? Or starting something and just not finishing it. Why? See, then there's the other side of things. Because like I said, that was a very personal part of it. And part of digging into what you do from the way you wake up and everything else during the day, et cetera, like I just said, you start to realize that there are things you do consistently, but you do them subconsciously. You don't even think about them. And then if we call them out right now, such as brushing your teeth, you sit back and say, yeah, but whatever. Like that's just normal. It's a routine. No. It's a consistent routine that you subconsciously actually do because you know you need to do it. Okay, but what about the other stuff that we should be doing? Like the stuff that we should be doing but we're not. Think about it. What's on that list right now for you? What do you know you should be doing but for some reason you're not doing it? And you know what I'm going to tell you, right? What is it? Go for it. Tell me you just said making calls. Tell me you just said scheduling your days. Tell me you just said follow-up. Or adding people to your CRM. The stuff that makes your business move forward, like the stuff that actually makes us money. Okay? And listen, I know too that as I say that, some of that stuff you could be more consistent at. But I also know that this is where most people sit back and say, like, yeah, I know, you're right, I do. No. You see, here's the deal. Remember, you're already consistent. Okay, so it's not about needing more consistency. That's not actually the problem. Because again, we're consistent. The problem really becomes that we haven't actually built those things into the day the same way we've built everything else in. See, that's the difference right here. Now, just before we move on, let's take a quick commercial break here because I'm leaning into my point over here for you, but I want to make sure that it really hits. So let's just do this for a quick second here. This episode of the MindShare Podcast is brought to you by Kits Keep in Touch Systems, your ultimate marketing and lead generation CRM. If you're in real estate, you need Kits. Check it out. Go to mindshare101.com. Click on tools and resources up at the top. In fact, I think it's called marketing. Go figure. It's like I'm not even looking at the website right now. But go ahead and click that. You'll learn more about Kits. And of course, REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier magazine for real estate professionals and industry stakeholders, delivering news, insights, and commentary on the industry. You can go to Real Estate Magazine online and you will find everything you need to know about what's going on here in real estate in Canada. And never mind, in real estate abroad. And while you're listening, while you're at mindshare101.com, grab your free Ultimate Marketing Bundle. And if you are ready to grow your business with coaching, group training, or want to bring momentum training into your office, reach out. You can find all of our contact information on the website. We look forward to speaking with you. All right, let's get back to it here because I was making a point about consistency. And I just before we took that break said, you already are consistent with a lot of stuff in life. But again, when it comes to the stuff that we know we need to be doing and should be doing to grow our business, for some reason, we don't do it the same way. So I want you to look at the things that you do every single day without thinking. There's a system behind them. Like I said, there's a trigger. And there's an overall routine. There's a reason, even if you don't consciously think about it. Now, again, look at the things you're not doing. The business stuff, the uncomfortable stuff, the stuff that actually drives your income. What's missing? What's missing? No trigger. There's no structure. There's no routine. There's no built-in system. So what are you relying on in your days to drive the income level and the production and the success that you truly want? What are you relying on? Like, you want to feel, more motivated? You're relying on, like, whether you feel like it today, or whether it's, the sun is shining or it's raining or you're having a good day. Like, if that's what you rely on to push your motivation or your success in business, in life, it's not going to work. You know it and I know it. Because the things that you're doing consistently right now, you don't feel like doing them every time. You just do them. And that right there is the shift for you. Instead of trying to be more consistent, okay, start asking yourself, what patterns do I see in what I do, in what and why I do what I do consistently every day? Again, ask yourself, what patterns do I see in what and why I do what I do consistently? Ask yourself, what can I learn from the things I already do consistently? And what can I apply to those things that I'm not doing? So let me repeat those one more time for you, okay? What patterns do I see in what and why I do what I do consistently? What can I learn from the things that I already do consistently? And what can from what I learn, what can I apply to the things that I'm not doing? Okay? The real question is, like, how do I build the same triggers? How do I create the same timing? How do I create that same routine? Like, if you always grab your coffee at the same time, like, why are your phone calls random? Or if you always check your phone first thing in the morning, why isn't your CRM part of that? See, if your day already has structure, why are income-producing activities sitting on the sidelines kind of waiting to be done, like to see if you feel like them? Because that right there, like, you think about this, really perspective here, okay? That right there is your gap. That's the problem. And look, I'm not going to say, go flip your entire life upside down tomorrow. That's not how this whole thing works. But you take one thing, just one, and you connect that, you anchor it to something that you already do. Build it in. Do it at the same time. Do it at the same place. Like, use that same trigger and do it over and over again until it becomes automatic. Again, you grab your phone in the morning. Your first thought is, I'm going to go and check social media or check the news. Instead, why don't you go check your CRM? Instead, why don't you go check your goals? And it's the same action. Ultimately, it's just a matter of what it is that you actually tap on. You see what I'm saying here? Like, again, I want you to picture that. You're laying down, your eyes closed in bed, alarm goes off. You go to swap the phone and either turn the alarm off and snooze it, go back to bed, or you pick it up and you turn off the alarm, and now what? Seriously, what happens? Do you jump out of bed and go to the washroom and bring the phone with you and start scrolling? What are you scrolling? What are you tapping on? And that's where I'm challenging you again. And I can tell you straight up, for me, when I think about the way I at a time was picking up that phone, and I've built this in now, especially off the top of this year, through the first sort of 100 days, it's been a very conscious build-in that every time I grab that phone and I think to myself, mind you, I don't even think. It just naturally happens. There's the consistency. And I pick it up and I go to do something. And it's like, well, what are you doing? Well, hell, I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, great. But you there's a conscious realization right now that you just did it. There is. All right. So what are you going to do? Like, scrolling on the phone. Boom. There it was. And I changed it. It wasn't checking Instagram. It wasn't checking Facebook. It wasn't checking LinkedIn. I literally will open up the score, like sports, and I'll read sports news. I will go to the weather and see what's going on with the weather. And by the time I get to the weather, I realize I am just scrolling and wasting time right now. Turn that shit off. But notice what happened. The automatic grab the phone is there. The automatic open it up, unlock it, and start to like scroll is there. Whether I'm scrolling apps or scrolling a specific app or scrolling through my apps, whatever, the action is there. So I consciously realized it. And I used that trigger of grabbing the phone to change what it is I'm scrolling. And so, yeah, the action is still there. And I could still be even more efficient by just not picking it up at all. But in order to change the habit of what I'm doing and the way I'm doing it, it's a matter of realizing in that moment what I'm actually doing. And then once I started to change it, again, sports and weather, and the weather was actually the trigger to remind me to say, Dave, why are you scrolling the weather? Like, you've already seen the weather. You could just even look outside, or you've already checked it on the app. Like, we don't need to check it a few times a day. But again, that becomes a trigger for me to go, hey, put the phone down. But so again, same routine, just a little bit of a change in what it is I'm doing. And now, as I'm doing that more and I'm more conscious about it, it starts to become more automatic. And now it just becomes part of the day. It's not I don't have to think about it anymore. It just happens. And that right there is where things change. I have been mentally a lot clearer, emotionally, I don't want to say, emotionally happier or less concerned, but let's be real. I'm not feeding my brain with all the bullshit on social and the bullshit and the negative news. I'm just not feeding it in there. So I am happier. I'm less stressed out. I'm not as, pressured about the outside noise. And even if we don't sit there and say, oh my God, I'm so concerned and I'm so bothered, it's all these little things, these negatives that sit in your brain that just don't need to be there. And I've cleared that out. It is so incredibly limited in terms of what I'm allowing to get in my mind, that my mind is actually more creative, happier, clearer. I feel less stressed because all that shit ain't sitting on the subconscious. Okay, so like I said, the change is happening. And I didn't become a different version of me. I didn't finally found the secret to discipline. And it's not like there was some, oh my God, big, huge light bulb moment where I sat back one day and had a whole dinner to celebrate this thing, right? Really, all it is that instead of, operating off of randomness, it's about building structure. Look, at the end of the day, if you haven't got the structure, and I mean, this is all pretty simple stuff, okay, but if you don't have the structure, how are you going to know what to do in your day? How are you going to get it all done? And again, here's the answer to the question of why you feel so stressed and overwhelmed on so many times of your day and so often. It's because there's no structure. There's no discipline. See, it's not about a lack of consistency. It's about a lack of direction, right? It's not staying focused on what needs to happen and when it needs to happen. And we already do so many of these things already, like every single day without thinking about them. But the question is, again, for so much of what we do, is it actually helping us find the success that we want? Is it actually helping us hit our goals? Is it actually helping us find the elusive, happiness and work-life balance? Or was so much of what we do, because of these damn phones, that I continue to come back to how much they've impacted us, are we really just filling time? And again, saying we're busy, but not necessarily being productive. Because that spot, okay, that gap between where you are right now and where you ultimately want to be, it's not just about effort, but it's about what the effort is actually applied to. Where are we focusing our efforts? So here's what you got to do. And actually do this. Because, as I say to you so often, don't just listen to this and move on. You didn't just come here for nothing today. And I mean, if you did, thanks so much. Maybe you just like the sound of my voice. And maybe you do. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe that's why you come to the MindShare Podcast. I love his voice. Now, if you're sitting there chuckling or you're rolling your eyes at me right now, good, so am I. I just want you to know that. It's not about my voice. It's the message. We need to drive home the message. Because that's where things change. Is when you truly hone in and you truly take action, not just to hear me, but to actually listen. To actually try to implement whatever you learned in these few minutes we were together today. That's where the change happens. So your action step here today, write down your day. Okay, write down everything you do in a day. And yes, for the amount of times that I referenced here today, getting up in the morning, what do you do first thing in the morning, what's that routine look like, and what do you do throughout the entire day? Every little thing. Be honest with yourself. Write down what you do and figure out what you're consistent with. Figure out why you're consistent with that. And then figure out what's missing. Then once you figure that out, take that one thing and start to truly build it into your day. Just the same way you brush your teeth, the same way you get dressed. Because that right there, that's where your next level of success starts. I'm David Greenspan, reminding you to build MindShare because MindShare equals market share. A big thanks to Kits and Rem for sponsoring this show. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you next week.